Hi guys, and welcome to Ray's Garage, another episode of Wrenching with Ray. I got a special part today. Finally came in. Waited almost a year for it. The parts for these bikes, being brand new and redesigned, are hard to come by when they do become available. There's always a back order. Anyway, I've been waiting for this for almost a year. Tman Performance finally made an air cleaner that'll fit the 23.5 and 24 CVO. I got it right here. Shout out to George at All American Cycle. I don't know if you can see his logo right there, but he was kind enough to get me this, uh, and we're gonna install it today. I'll be right back. All right, guys. So I am about to start. I'm gonna go ahead and take off this air cleaner. Um, Being that I'm not gonna teach you how to do this air cleaner, I'm just gonna take it off and start with the T-Man No Loss. I had to get more light in here because, as you can see before, it was quite dark. So now I can zoom in and out and see a lot better. And you can see my 121 stage 1 badge. Um, as I said, I did a stage 1 on this very early on. That was in focus again. Anyway, we're going to start, and I will get back to you as soon as I'm done. All right, guys, I was able to get, with a lot of hard work, I was able to get the Screaming Eagle. You can see it in pieces here. I gotta tell you, the bolts that the Screaming Eagle hook up to, which are the three flange bolts here, where you got a little piece of, this is gasket I gotta remove. Anyway, those were murder. These two bolts down here, I ended up having to cut a 5/32 Allen wrench so that I can get back behind this elbow. This elbow sits like that, and you can see there's no room back there. So that was an adventure, but I got it off. Hopefully the T-Man install will go a whole lot better. Okay guys, so I had to clean out the area where the old gasket was in for the old, you can see my old Screaming Eagle filter. So this rubber gasket left a nice coat of gunk everywhere, so I had to scrub that with a little, like a Brillo pad. And now I'm gonna go ahead and install the T-Man. First thing I want to do is get my trusty red Loctite ready, because all you need is one of these screws, any one of them, to fall off and go inside your throttle body, and you will have a very bad day, because there is no fixing that. That will slam into your piston. The bolts that hold the first part of the throttle body adapter, you'll see you have one long bolt and two shorter bolts. The long bolt is for the top because it goes all the way through, and the two shorter bolts will go on each side. Again, red light Loctite is a must. You don't want these to get loose. Although these would not fall into the throttle body, I'm not taking any chances. The whole thing would fall inside, or the whole filter assembly would fall out if these come loose. Now, can it happen? Yes, I'm sure it can. Is it likely? No, because you have two 9/16 bolts that also hold the whole assembly in place. So you want to start these by hand. You don't want to go harder on one than the other. So there's no instructions with this Tman kit. The only thing the instructions tell you is that the outer 4 bolts on the actual cover have to be removed to get to the filter. The rest, I guess they don't want an everyday schmo to try to install this. If these screws give you any problem starting by hand, back them out and try it again. Don't put a wrench to it. This is your throttle body. If you strip it or cross thread it, let's just say George can fix it. All American Cycle. But I don't imagine it's going to be an easy or an inexpensive repair. So I can see already that this is not seating 100%. I need to step over here and grab one of my favorite tools, the mini ball ping hammer. So you're not going to go to town with this, just light taps. This is billet, and I'm sure one tap too many and it'll be your last tap. So I'm looking at the inside of the throttle body where this adapter fits into it. This has to be a tight seal because this is sucking air through your filter. If there's any gaps where it meets, air is going to go through there. Now it does have a built-in O-ring to prevent that. Like I said, there's no instructions. You definitely don't want to bust one of these bolts. So I'm just going to do the German good and tight and not try to really crank it down. Like I said, these two big 9/16 bolts go one on each side of the head, and they're not going to let the assembly fall out, I'm pretty sure. For these to come out, something very bad has to happen. I don't think just the shaking of this Milwaukee 8 is going to do it. I am putting red Loctite on everything. This is what the motor builder Danielle told me to do, and I will bow down to his knowledge because this is just an air cleaner. He builds motors. So after the first piece of the adapter, the back plate also has this part of the adapter has an O-ring that's kind of recessed in there. I'll make sure that it's lubricated. I just put a little tiny bit of 3M grease. This little hose barb is what your transmission case has, that hose that comes out of it. What I try. And I use one of these spark plug wrenches to grab that hose and pull it out to where I can work with it, being careful not to scratch my paint. Once I have it here, I'm just going to hold on to it with this plier. Now I have put 3M electrical tape all over the plier so it doesn't slip, and I'm just going to take this back plate and push that hose into it all the way in while I hold it with the pliers, and that's about good right there. So that hose is your the breather from the transmission case. Now there's 2 pins on the adapter that'll fit right into place, and I'm gonna tap it a little just to make sure that it is in place, and it is. Then you have 3 bolts that are all the same, and this is a 7/16 hex head. These are the ones that you want to make sure this is never gonna come loose, because if it does, it ends up in your cylinder, and I don't want to see that happen. So I'm putting some red Loctite on this bad boy. Worst case scenario, this will be a mother to get out if you ever need to take it out. But if these come out with your engine running and go into your throttle body, ask George if you're ever over there. Happened to him once. He heard a pow, and the rest is crap history, because put a dent when you looked at the top of the piston. There was a perfect indentation, like a fingerprint of that bolt. Again, there are no instructions with this kit. I do not know a torque value, and even Danielle told me just put them on tight. You don't want to break one of these bolts. That is the adapter. But considering the vibration that this goes through, you want to make absolutely certain that you are not gonna come loose. Now, I'm gonna step around here real quick. Actually, I can reach it here. I just want to see what kind of torque I put on these bolts, because I'm thinking these are going to be foot-pounds, not inch-pounds. And most of this stuff, I could probably text Julio right now, and he would probably have a good number for me, but I'm going to go ahead and wing it, and hopefully it's not going to cost me later. So I've set this at 30 foot-pounds and see. Let's see what happens. Maybe I'll go 23 foot-pounds and see what happens. I hope I don't break one of these, because that's pretty tight, man. About 21. Magic number 21. Let's shoot for 21. Okay. I'm gonna do it at 22 foot-pounds. And I'm gonna call that a day. So I put it at 22 foot-pounds. Those are the ones, if that comes off inside your cylinder, oh God, just one of those bolts. They look to be titanium. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure the head of this piston is a lot softer than that bolt. And if that comes off, man, I cannot stress it enough. That's the only thing that they told me over and over again. Make sure you red Loctite that bolt. That comes off. That is a bad day. So these bolts, actually, you need this spacer back here. And then this 9/16 bolt, which I also put a very liberal amount of Loctite. These are a little tricky to get in. It's already tight. But it's a must. And I might not be able to get this one in there. Let's try with this. Of course, everything is in the way. No. Oh, if I have to take this loose, I'm not going to be a happy camper. And it looks like I might have to. Because it's not. It's hard to put my fingers in there behind this plate. The left side went in without a problem. The right side is a little tricky. I kind of cleaned the heads off really good so that I wouldn't have fingerprints or anything on there, and I do believe I'm gonna have to. Nope, I almost had it. Wow. So you learned. For those people in YouTube land, before you tighten these 3 bolts, it's probably a good idea to set these in place, because I think I'm going to give it a couple more tries, and if it doesn't ease in there, I'm going to have to take it loose. And it wants to go in. It's like right there, and then I twist it at the end and it doesn't fit right. Okay. I'm not giving up. I just have to do it again. So all that torquing was for nothing. I gotta take these loose. Well, I'm not sure that 21 foot-pounds was good enough anyway, so now this should slide right in there. And it did. I'll take this 9/16 bolt and put it in there. Now these bolts are going into your head, guys, so you want to make sure you start those by hand, and that you're not cross-threading. Get this back out again. the Milwaukee 8 is continuously shaking, so you got to make sure you put Loctite on these. It's something that's gonna shake loose. So I'm setting it on 23 foot-pounds. I'm gonna tighten them in. I'm actually going to look in the book just to make sure and see if the book tells me any kind of torque on there. Gonna be right back, guys. I'm gonna look in the book and see what torque. Well, guys, as you can see, I am done. In all, maybe about 25 minutes worth of labor. Took me longer to cut and edit the film than anything else. I did get a hold of Julio at American Cycle. The torque specs for the fitting to the throttle body plate is 120 to 130 inch-pounds. So I was hitting it just a little bit harder than I needed to. I took the bolts out, put red Loctite back on them, and did it again and took them down. If you can see inside that plate back there, there is no velocity stack. The trash filters, I like that about them. They have a velocity stack. It's magnetic that snaps over the bolts so they can, no matter what, if they do come loose, the entire air cleaner will fall off of the intake before you get bolts inside your engine. I'm gonna see if I can design something with a magnetic ring to do that over their opening. It's gonna be a challenge. It has to be shaped like a velocity stack so you get clear airflow. But that's about it. There it is, the Tman no loss air cleaner. So guys, thank you once again for joining. Very happy to do these videos for you guys. I try to keep as much content coming as possible. I'm gonna be doing the oil change video very soon. I know I keep promising that. I did an oil change on this bike after I did the power plate, and I just didn't record anything. So I'm gonna do it to the gray bike and show you guys how to do the 3-hole oil change. So anyway, I'm gonna sign off now. This is Ray in Ray's Garage, Renting with Ray Ray. Thanks again for joining me, guys.